to say that yes, the Tutsis are originally Congolese
Yeah,
by border,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But they have their other brothers in Rwanda who
yeah,
are Rwandese.
yeah.
And the Tutsis in Congo, they are not saying
They
that
up,
they are Rwanda. They are saying they are Congolese.
they are not. They're not because they already have almost 800,000 plus refugee in Rwanda. Too.
I don't
Also,
know.
you should know.
We are coming to that, but I just want our audience because I
Okay.
think your voice is not loud enough, you know.
Yeah.
But I can hear you. I don't know about my audience, but the fact here is that the Tutsis are Congolese,
Yeah, they are Congolese.
and they are not saying that they want their country, and they are not saying that they are Rwandese. They accepted to be Congolese, but the challenge here is that the Congolese government is not
Yeah.
developing their region, is not taking good care
Yeah.
of them as they are taking
Yeah.
care of other region and other people in
Yeah.
that region.
Yeah.
Okay, now what they are saying is, okay, you are taking all the minerals to develop other parts of this country. Please come and develop our own part too. And the government failed to do that. That is
Yeah. The
what
government failed to
caused
do that.
all this chaos. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
That's why I formed the M23.
Okay, now I see. Go ahead.
So the M23 and the Congolese government, they have come to table so many times for agreement.
Mhm.
But the truth is, the Congolese government have failed to live up to their obligations
Good.
because it's the American backed government
Yeah.
in Congo. So no one will be pleased that they are just breaking up their resources. They are not just like not only that region they are not developing, but generally they are not developing Congo. They are just taking the resources for their own gain. And those people, when you check, it's not just one group of rebels in Congo.
Yeah, so
There are so many
many.
group of
We know that. Yeah.
so many group of
Mm, mm, yeah.
M23 is taking the lead.
Mm. Okay.
So almost, yeah.
Let me ask you a question here. So, do you think that what M23 is doing is right?
What M23 is doing is right.
Yeah.
Are you asking? I can say M23 is right or M23 is wrong. It depends. It depends the situation I find myself. Just judge their actions. So firstly, let's think. If you were in that situation, how will you feel that situation? How will you handle that situation?
Yeah, I get your point. But you have made us to understand that in Congo there is more than 400 tribes,
200 plus.
200 tribes, and almost all the 200 tribes they have all
Mm,
carried arms to defend their interests.
yeah,
But M23 becomes more popular because they are perhaps more equipped, right?
yeah, more equipped.
Okay,
Yeah,
so now, in my opinion and understanding here, I think what M23 is doing is just self-defense.
yeah, self-defense. To me, that's how I view it. But I
Self-defense.
don't know why. Yeah, I don't know how other people would view it. To me, because if I was in that case, I would do the same.
Okay, now we let me try to give you examples because that continent called Africa, frankly speaking,
Mm.
God truly blessed that continent. But the problem that I can say that that continent have is a tribal war. Watch the whole countries, the whole states in that continent. What is
Yeah,
causing chaos there? Like your own country, Liberia. You know what you guys passed through recently.
but okay, there's a saying, and I'll give you that saying. If you put a group of white ants and a black, there was an experiment that was used. If you put a group of white ants and a red and But when you shake that jar, there will be fighting. In that case, the question is the fighting that is going on in that jar, who is the cause?
I get your point. That is one thing I am trying to not get into it. You know what it is? Like with the black community,
Yeah,
we try to blame the West or perhaps the foreign powers to be the problem, our problem in everywhere we find ourselves. Yes, listen, brother,
yeah,
there is no
yeah,
argument on that. That these guys they
yeah,
are causing some unacceptable situation for our people, but
yeah,
I have also come to question some arguments. Example:
yeah,
Asians was under colonial power even to date.
yeah,
Many countries in Asia is still under colonized.
yeah,
Even the America we talk about, if we are to be honest with ourselves, we know the American history. Okay, now if you go to Canada, in Canada there is, should I say, three major tribes: the English, the
yeah,
French, and the
yeah, the
indigenous.
French. Hmm.
Do you know that in
Yeah,
Canada they live side by side?
yeah,
Like almost none. The other guy is not allowed to enter my own place, right? Okay, now
yeah,
let's go to UK, United Kingdom. This is
yeah.
almost three countries. That is
Hmm.
Scottish, England, and then what is the Irish, right? Like three people who came together to make a kingdom.
Yeah,
Now, and we have to be very clear to ourselves. We are saying these guys are our problem. These guys are our problem because they come to you, perhaps they give you something and tell you that you can do this to this person in order for you to remain the leader,
yeah,
which is very clear. But my question is, take for instance that they produce gold worth $100 in Congo,
yeah,
and these guys gave back $50 to the Congolese leader. What are they doing with that $50? Because these white guys or this foreign power, perhaps they are not taking everything. They did the same to every other person, even to themselves. But we know where they are today. Almost every country in Europe today, they are well to do. Food is not their problem. Ah, the same with Asia, almost in Asia.
yeah.
Okay, if you go to America, you could talk about Caribbean, North America, where you will find states in America that cannot feed themselves. I'm not talking about United States, I'm talking about America as a continent, right? You will see that it is only where the black community are living. But anyway, that's by the way. What I'm trying to say is that I do not want us to waste more energy on blaming these foreign powers. I want us to come home. If we can tell ourselves the truth that yes, these foreigners are almost the major cause of our crisis,
Yeah,
but also, why are we allowing them to enter us too deep? And you and I, as you are black, I am black, regardless that we come from different states in that part of the world, but
mm-hmm.
we are facing similar challenge on daily basis, both in our home country, both where we are, right? So, but here we are trying to see if there is opinions, ideas. You and I, we are not for law enforcement. We cannot enforce any law. We cannot even make law, but we can make suggestions. And looking at DRC, things have gone wrong a lot. I do not want us to say, okay, these foreigners, they are our problem. No. What I want you to tell me now is, if you are to be the president of DRC and truly you are interested in making peace, what do you think you can do that will bring
What I
everlasting peace?
what I think I can do to bring everlasting peace in DRC if I was the president.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know the circumstances or I don't know the difficulties those people are going under. So because I haven't been to power, so I can't determine or I can say. But I don't know the threat they are going through and they are going under every day. But history have teach me so many things, and I've learned so many things from history.
Okay.
Okay, firstly, let's look at Guyana before I get to my answers. Guyana is a black country, and Guyana was producing
Mm.
try to produce their own food. Haiti was the black country that produced food on a high rate more than any other nation, any other black nation on the planet. Not any
Yes.
other black nation, but any nation on the planet at that time.
Yes. 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 I
Haiti
know.
produced. And when Haiti said, we don't want the American grains because we want our own grains to grow in our market, what happened to Haiti? I think you and myself will know what happened to Haiti. The American never had that. They make it clear. Now look at Liberia's situation. Maybe many Liberians might not know today, but for Liberia province started from the West Riot. And what happened? The West Riot was influenced by the American. When Liberia said we can produce our own grain and we can sell our own grain in the market, what happened to Liberia? Even though the US haven't come out publicly to say what it did, how they supported other groups, how they gave them money to carry on our coup, even though the US haven't come out to say they were the one who killed the president directly. So history has teach us so many things. And also don't look at the rules that were abiding upon every black nation. That no African nation was allowed to produce their own food. For United Nations, since Africa is giving mineral to the world, Africa's position should just be to give mineral. Africa are not allowed to produce their own food. If you don't know today, you should know that and you should go and do your research. So only now, because of what happened in Ukraine, and because many Americans are not making harm, they are into technology. This is why they are not really putting a lot of pressure on black nation these days. So when we study history and we check through history, we already know. So coming back to the question, if I was president in the DRC, becoming a president in the DRC is a pressure by itself because all of the mineral that the world is actually looking for is in the DRC. So looking at the past history about DRC, how other presidents were assassinated, other good presidents who are playing for their country in that country. So becoming a president in a DRC is a very difficult decision. The only decision I will make for the best interest of the DRC as a president, and it's not because of what I want. I will not be happy to do it for the greater good of the people is to give every region their spot, their land to them. They can develop their leader, they can bring out their leader, and anything they do with their resources, that's it. The only thing they can just send tax to the original government. Because the truth is, when I decide to say I'm taking over the entire country, the whole nation will be vulnerable. They will be vulnerable in the sense that the country is big with so many different ethnic groups and so many resources that foreign power want. So which means when the foreign power comes to me, I tell them, I say those people control themselves. The only thing they get paid tax to us. They get paid tax to us for security. But there is nothing we can do about the situation for every group, not because this person has so many resources from this person, we decide to say, oh, because of it, we can't allow them to get what they deserve. They're supposed to get what they deserve when we don't have the ability to govern them well. They'll give them what they deserve because it's 200 plus tribes. So they'll give their position to them. They can decide on what to do. When every tribe becomes independent, they will focus on building their spot. They will focus on selling their resources well to build where they are. But
Yeah. Mm.
because of greed. Like for example, let's look at Europe. How Europe is divided. Europe is actually divided by tribes. Every tribe When you study European history, you not see one nation have two different tribes easily. Almost every tribe in Europe have their own land and they have their own place. And they were governing under one umbrella, the European Union or the United Kingdom. But they are independent states. Because of what? Because of the governing process. It will be difficult for you to govern a whole lot of people who speak different languages. The only man who will decide to take such a risk with a very large country like that is a very greedy man who not have any interest of that of his people. That's the only man who will take risks like that. So when I was the president, I gave the people freedom and settle their own regional government to manage their resources.
Good.
Yeah, so when I was president, we and then they can be independent. They can. Every nation, every places, every tribe can govern themselves. They have a leader and they have potential people. So the only way I would think I can govern it is that I'm getting support from foreign power. And anytime you are getting support from foreign power, they need something in return. So because I don't want to give somebody anything in return, something that I don't have for myself. Let me
Okay.
allow the person who has it to take responsibility of it.
Good. First of all, I would like to thank you. That's why I had it in the mind to invite you here because I know you have a sound mind and you believe in justice, you believe in freedom, you believe in equal rights, just like I do. You've made a point that can settle all the chaos in Africa, not just in DRC. Before I asked you this question, I pointed hands to many things, like I talked about Canada having different tribes and they manage their part differently and they pay tax to the central government. And I also pointed out UK, which if you go to UK, Scotland is like a different country on her own. London is like a
Yeah,
different country. They are very independent from each other. They even have their own local police, their own local court, and everything. If you go to America, it will shock you that even states in America have their own Supreme Court. And do you know that Elon
yeah,
Musk, the richest man on earth, is saying that the federal government, the US federal government, should give more power again to the states? Now, let's come back to
yeah,
Africa. You said that DRC has over 200 tribes. And
yeah,
clearly, you can see that some of the tribes have their brothers in the neighboring countries.
yeah,
Now, and the DRC is trying to control all the tribes from the central. And it has not been working for years now. And they're
yeah,
not very sure that the best solution to this challenge is just
hmm,
decentralized power. East, control your power. Pay 10% tax to the federal, 20% tax to the federal. West, control your region. Pay so amount of tax to the federal. The same goes to the west, the same goes to the north, the same goes to the south. Each region should be enabled, should be allowed to control themselves. Now let's move down to Cameroon. It is the same issue. Greedy leaders, right? If you eventually try to cross border and go into Nigeria, that is the worst. Nigeria has fought a war in 1967 to 1970. Believe me, over 6 million was unalived. These are fellow
there's a
Nigerians,
price
not
to every
foreigners.
freedom. There's a price to every freedom.
What is the problem that caused the conflict? They went to Ghana to negotiate how the country should be governed. And they agreed that the government should run by West control their people, South control themselves, North the same thing. But they came back, just like the way you keep accusing the foreign power. The foreign powers advised the central government that this is not going to be to the interest of your own people, right? Because if that happens,
Yeah.
it is going to harm the foreign interest. That's why it is difficult to allow it in Congo. Because if that happens in Congo, Congo is going to develop over within 10 years, you will not recognize Congo.
Yeah.
Now, they advised the current government then in Nigeria. And what did he do? He said, no, we didn't agree on such thing. He denied all they agreed on. Thanks be to God that the conversation was recorded. And some of the generals that went to have this conversation, they have to leak the tape to the public. It's still obtainable to date. You know, this is how the conflict started. So if you look at Africa and if you look at Europe, you will see that Europeans had more conflict among themselves than Africa is having today. But when they became honest to themselves, they now say, okay, there is a solution to this our problem. What is the solution? The solution is to divide this continent tribe by tribe. That's why if you go to Europe today, you can
Yeah.
still see a state in Europe that has less than 1 million population and they are a country on their own. There are too many
Yeah.
like that. But if you come to Africa, if you tell them, let us borrow the idea that has worked. We have seen that it worked in Europe.
Mhm.
Let us buy this idea. Let us introduce this to stop this conflict, to stop this unaliving ourselves every day. The Congolese, the Tutsis, I don't know the names of other tribes there. If you trace their origin carefully, you will find out that these people are still the same family. They are still brothers and sisters.
Sure.
But I find it very difficult to understand how these African leaders think. Okay, now look. Uh, do you know that as Indonesian government is it, let me not say is, but can invite the entire head of state in Africa to come to Indonesia to discuss trade agreement with them, all of them, and they will enter plane and go to Indonesia. Japan will call all of them. They will all travel to Japan. China will do the same thing. Russia will do the same. Ed, tell me, since you became an adult, how many times have you heard that even America invited the entire states in Asia to come to America to have trade agreement with them? What is the problem? You know, okay. The fact here is the only solution to this Congo problem is not trying to negotiate anything that won't give the region power to control themselves. The federal government in DRC have shown that they are not capable and they are not ready to do anything good for the Tutsis, neither for the country in general, right? Why
Yeah.
not accept the fact that regions have to be given freedom to develop themselves?
Because agreed.
Greedy, greedy, in expense of human life. Not one, not two, not three. Okay, okay. Now we've seen Kagame, the president of Rwanda, who allegedly is backing the Tutsis. Do you see it as an error?
The first thing, we can't just conclude with say Paul Kagame is the backing one group of people.
Allegedly, I say.
Fine. Yeah, we can't just come to one conclusion because there's no evidence. But the question is, what is the central government doing to bring peace in their own country? It's not about
Well, happens to be that his connection is having problem, but hopefully it will connect soon. Okay. I think. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Oh, my connection is breaking. Hopefully to be okay.
Yes, hello.
Okay, your network is back. Can you hear me clear now?
Yeah, I can hear you clear now.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Can you please repeat yourself because we didn't hear your argument?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Mhm.
I said to every freedom, there's a price to pay.
Yeah.
Once you are willing to pay that price, that's it. I'm from a country that we experience war, two different passion. Almost the same chaos the Congolese are facing today, almost that's the same chaos we experience too. And we had someone who was strong enough and brave enough to fight against the central government, to fight against the central government. What happened and how freedom came? How freedom came? Freedom came by price. People pay the price because for me, I'm sitting here today. It's only by my parents explained to me. It's only by the grace of God. Because at that time, the central government was getting rid of almost every persons from my tribal country. And luckily, my parents were survived from the story my parents gave me because of someone who stood up for them. So the same way too. The same way the M23 decided to stand for their people. So the M23, if the M23 decide to stand that conflict, they have to stand against the central government, which means to battle against the central government. Once the central government is defeated, then the M23 can take charge of what happened in Niger and what happened today in Burkina Faso. So like I said, there's a price to pay. So when we talk about Rwanda backing those people, doesn't matter who back them. It doesn't matter who back them. If Rwanda don't back those people, the US will arm the central government, and the central government will carry on slaughter with those people, and the central government of DRC will still slaughter those people.
Okay.
So
Sorry for
if they want,
interjecting.
mm,
Should we say that the central government is committing genocide against the Tutsis?
not against central government is committing. I'll be honest. Genocide is not just about taking arm and going to fight. Genocide is about you having the ability and refuse.
Yeah.
Tell you not because I'm violent or because not because I'm violent, but the truth, there should be someone to stand for their people. And the M23 group is standing for their people. So if
Oh my, the network is a very big challenge. All right. Mr. Ed is trying to educate us, trying to tell us the exact challenge in DRC, the Congo, and unfortunately, his network is having issue. But hopefully, we'll be back soon. Can you hear me? Very soon, we will just bear with us. We will soon advance enough to bring him up to the studio whenever we need to talk to him. He has a lot of information that is helpful to you and to me. Wow. Wow. Can you hear me? All right. As we wait for Mr. Ed, I want to tell us that Africa, the solution to all the chaos in Congo, in Nigeria, in where again? In Cameroon. And also, a friend of mine from Ghana was telling me the same issue in Ghana last time. The area that is producing all the gold that the Ghana government has been using to survive is under marginalized. They are being marginalized. Someone from another tribe was actually making boasting, telling me that they can't do anything. If they do anything, the government will do them this, do them that. And these people are not originally from Ghana, but the colonial masters came to Africa and they divided the people without even asking you, where are you from? What is your tribe? They just divide it according to their interest, you know. And now our people has been facing this issue. There has been conflict day and night. There has been conflict between this brother and this sister every day. Every day I say, with non-stop. If you go to Cameroon, there is conflict going on there. Mr. Ed, we want to say thank you for giving us your time. Hopefully, if your network get better and we are still here, you can reconnect with us. We will be happy to welcome you again. So now, you go to Cameroon, the same issue happening. Conflict between brother and brother to serve a foreign power. If you go to Nigeria, it is worse. Nigeria fought war against herself that took over 6 million lives. And after the war, there has been conflict among these two people. And there has been casualty every day since 1967 to date. Since 1960 rather to date. This is not fair. Because solution to all this conflict is very simple and very achievable. What is the solution? Decentralized power as it is in America. Decentralized power as it is in Canada. Decentralized power as it is in United Kingdom, UK. Right? In Nigeria is too much. Tribe. Religion. And the good thing about Nigeria is that each tribe, each region have their own peculiar way of belief. So dividing it, in my opinion, seems to be the best option and the best solution to save lives and property. Now, in DRC, the same thing is repeating itself. What are the solutions? Very simple and one solution. Decentralized power. Allow them to have the autonomy power. Let them have their own police to guide themselves. Let them have their own security, their own court system, and let there be general. Let there be state law, federal law, state crime, and federal crime. Perhaps regional law and central power. Where if you commit any crime under the regional law, you will be punished according to the law of the land where you were caught. If you commit federal law, federal offense, you will go to federal court and face it. We've seen a good example in Europe. Europeans have been fighting against themselves for decades. But since they realized that their problem is not coming from far distance, but they are their own problem, what did they do? They corrected themselves, and since then, they have been enjoying peace and prosperity. No continent is more advanced like Europe. And how did they do it? Simple, by accepting the reality. The reality is that a French person is not a German, and a German is not an English, and all these things are tribes. And they claim, individually, they claim they are the superior. English claim to be superior than German. German claim to be superior than French. French claim to be superior than English. So if you allow these people to be in one place under one government, there is going to be marginalization. There is going to be who know who. But if you allow them to be on their own, let French rule the people of France. Let Germans rule themselves. English rule yourself. It has been so. And it has brought development. It has brought prosperity. It has brought advancement. It has brought unstoppable improvement. Europe keep improving every day. Europe keep advancing every day. Why not Africa learn from this? Why? You know, why can't she learn from that? Okay, Mr. Edward, you're welcome. We lost you. Yeah, welcome back. Can you hear me now? Yeah, okay. So I wanted to ask you a question before the network interrupted, but thank God it has been restored.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that in Rwanda, Rwanda has not less than 200,000 refugees from DRC. Uh, Uganda now has over 200,000 refugees from DRC. We're not talking about other people, other neighbors. Now,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that these refugees in another man's land, do you think do you think that these people are happy to be in another man's land because of simple conflict that the government can just manage, but they fail to? Do you think they are happy where they are?
No one is happy in another man's country.
Okay.
So people are not fully happy.
Mhm.
Someone can put people are happy, but from politics and do anything by my free will. But those people, I can say they are happy because they are not free to do a lot of things. So I don't think they are happy.
All right. So, frankly, I don't think anybody can be happy living as a refugee in a foreign land. It doesn't matter what they are offering you. It doesn't matter what they are giving to you. But if we want to be honest with ourselves, we would simply agree that nobody is happy to be a refugee in any land at all.
Yeah.
So, do you think that they might be, in fact, that there might be one of these rebels fighting against the government? In fact, I don't call any of them rebels. I have not done research on other groups that are fighting, but the little research I have done on
Hmm.
M23, I do not call them rebel. I call them freedom fighters. Now, you made a point recently. You said that they should consider, if the government of DRC failed to do what is necessary, that they should consider doing what happened in Burkina Faso, Mali, and the rest of them. But
Yeah.
I want to tell you that that is not going to happen. It's not possible because this M23, they have not even made attempt or suggested that they can or they want to take over the country. No, their focus is their own region, right?
Yeah.
And if they try to take over the country, it's going to be, should I say, very difficult because the other tribe will say, oh, you guys want to come and rule us.
Yeah.
They won't see them as people trying to bring solution to the challenge that the country is facing. Now, they themselves, they are not even arguing that they want to take over. Or if I'm wrong, you can correct me because you might have information that I do not. Have they ever made a comment that they want to take over the country?
Actually, I haven't seen comment like that yet, but you can determine the intention of any man. Some people, they are very secretive. They keep everything to themselves while they execute their plans.
Okay.
So they have.
Check your earphone. I cannot hear you.
I can't. Hello.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, I can't say anything about it because everybody have their own ulterior motive to every chaos.
Yeah.
So I can't say anything or there's no comment until they can speak for themselves. Until,
All right. So we can agree that they have not officially made such a statement. So for that reason, that is not considerable now. But it is necessary for the government to do what is good by fulfilling their promise and living according to the law, you know. But
yeah.
Mr. Ed, before we wrap up, I would like to ask you something.
Hmm.
What do you think that Africa as a continent, or perhaps few states that you know their history very well, what do you think that they need to do to get things right? Because if you look at almost all the states in Africa, none is actually functioning correctly like a state, except Rwanda. I can give Rwanda credit because Paul Biya, or I don't know his real name, Kagame,
Hmm.
Paul Kagame, right?
Hmm.
He has been too long in power, but
Hmm.
I don't think anybody. Okay, let me just put this question in a very understandable manner. Do you
Yeah.
think in Africa that we need to change government every 4 months or every 4 years? Or do you think that what we need is actually who can deliver, regardless of how many years that he stays in power?
The first thing I would say, for me, I always go back to history, and I always like to study history, and also from history we study our history so we can make the future better, right? In the
Yes.
African kingdom as a whole, African people from past history. They are very peaceful, loving, caring people. They are very peaceful, loving, caring people. And from time to time in past history, we always have kings, queens leading their people, and they were leading their people with peace, with love, and justice. I can't. There's no equal justice in this world, no matter how the situation is.
Yeah.
But things were fine in Iraq. Looking at what for God, like government changing or governments. It's the people.
Example.
The people are the one who have the power. Example, what happened in Niger? I'll always give Niger as an example because the people stood up by their government to take almost the biggest and the most powerful foreign power from their soil, the United States, France, and other people from their soil. They never defeated, the rebel never defeated, or those people never defeated, the gender never defeated the government and the foreign power alone. The people stood up, and the people was waiting to fight for the cause of the people living. And at the end of the day, because of social media, until the foreign power feel guilty and they decide to leave out of guilt.
Yeah.
So the first problem that we are facing is what the Bible says. You know, not everybody do believe the Bible, but I will always tell you, if you read and you understand, the Bible says, ignorance, out of ignorance, my people perish. For me, I define it out of stupidity, out of foolishness. How can our nation be better with themselves if the people are not honest with their thoughts?
Hmm.
From the president to the common man, everyone agreed. Okay, the government will not be a good government. Together, if the people know what they want, if the people they are inclined, if the people are well educated, they can put themselves together to defeat the central government. But because, like for example, Gustav Le Bon, one of the famous philosophers, Russian philosopher, he said, he solve problem. The problem will be solved every time. But once one phase of problem, I also face that same problem. That impact will reflect on me. There is no success in the environment that everyone is suffering. There is success in the environment when everyone is successful. You understand? In our country, refusing and failing to
Oh,
develop. And the people they themselves they fail. In their own community, they have also failed themselves because they even your friend, let's go, you don't trust you. And once your friend knows, let's go, don't trust you, which means you already fail yourself.
okay. Let me.
So the people themselves they are failure.
Sorry for cutting you short. I
Yeah.
got your point, and I think you have a point, but I dare to disagree to an extent. I can say that I disagree with you almost 60%, and I will tell you why. Do you know you use Niger as example, right?
Yeah.
Now, you made another point saying that the people have to be educated, right? The Niger you used as
Now,
example has no education.
no, 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 no. No, there's one thing every African make. Every African think that education is what they read. Not education. Education is about. Education is about. Our people. Our people never go to school, but our people were saving
Okay,
lives. Civilization is about education. It's
all
about
right,
you
all right,
eradicating
all
greed
okay,
on
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
mind.
yeah. That is informal education and that is formal education. And
Yeah,
when I was a kid, all these things are regarded as education legally in every system of
yeah,
government.
yeah,
I get you and I agree with
yeah.
you on that. But I want to tell you something again.
Mhm.
You know, I had a conversation with you some years ago and you made a point. You said to me that a group of, that is how you make that phrase, something like a group of sheep
Yeah.
being led by, I don't know if you can remember that comment,
Or lion.
by a lion.
A group of sheep is being led by a lion can be a group of lion that is being led by a sheep.
Thank you. Yeah. A group of sheep being led by a lion can defeat a group of lions being led by a sheep, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, how did the success came to Niger, simply because there was there was a strong lion leading both lions and
I know.
perhaps some few sheep.
There's a yeah. Just wait. Don't just leave the statement open, because within a mix of within a mix of sheep, right? There was a lion that was raised within a mix of that lead them, because they were a group of sound minds together with a one common understanding. So they had to support. They had to support someone. It was not the central government that defeated the foreign power. It was not the central government.
No,
It was it was the people themselves.
but I want
So
to let hear my point. Hear my point.
yeah,
My point is this. My point is this. My point is this. There was a
yeah,
leader that informed the people
yeah,
that this is wrong, and they
yeah,
said, "Oh,
yeah,
truly we have seen it. You are right. What can we
yeah,
do?"
yeah,
And he said to them,
yeah.
"This is what we can do to regain our freedom, to regain what belongs to us." And they followed him. And I want to tell you also
Mm,
that, frankly speaking, you cannot do something
mm,
successfully in any society without having
mm.
some known power behind you. I want to tell you an example now. I want to give you a very practical. Did you hear about NSAS protests in Nigeria? Because it was a popular one. Did you hear about it?
And I hear about the failure, and I saw the failure
Huh?
of the people. I hear about that protest, and I went through that protest, and I saw the failure of the people.
Very good. I'm coming.
I call them group of noise makers.
Very good. Thank you. I agree with you. The thing that happened is this. At the beginning, they were determined, serious to do the deal, and they were making unstoppable progress. Then what happened? The so-called elite in the country have to divide the people according to tribe, telling them that tribe A is your problem. You know, conflict or scenarios in countries differ because the challenge that Uganda is facing is not the same with Congo, it's not the same with
Mm,
Rwanda. It is similar, but
mm,
not 100% the same. The most dangerous state or country or group of people to control is people that speaks diverse tongue. That's why look at what Britain did when they do you know that British colonial strategy was more successful than the rest? You know
yeah,
why? When Britain came, they don't know your language. They picked
mm,
few of you and educated you guys how to speak their own language, which is English.
yeah,
And they
mm,
now say, okay, you know what? They imposed your people on you as your leader.
yeah,
And your people now takes order from them.
mm,
So when you are leading people that you hardly hear what they are discussing or what they are saying,
mm,
and you're smartly enough, if you are smart enough to understand the scenarios, and they impose
mm,
themselves against themselves, you will be more
mhm,
successful than trying to come and show that you are the leader while you know that you cannot stand the pressure. Now, if you look at Congo
mm,
conflict seems to be
mm,
complicated, but if you want to be honest with yourself, it is not because there is
mm,
only one answer to all the challenge. The
mm.
simple answer is just divide them region by region, let them govern themselves and pay tax to the central government. And
Yeah,
no one will fight again. Even
yeah,
if they have to fight, they have to fight themselves now.
yeah,
Okay, if you come to Nigeria, what led to the failure of the NSAX protest was, in my view,
mm,
that the politicians have to,
mm,
the ruler, the president at the time, has to work with the people that the protest is taking place in their land.
mhm,
And their elite have to go to
mm,
their people and say to them,
mm.
why would you join people from other parts of the country to come and destroy our own region? Why their own region is safe? And
So
now,
that's mm,
now They
Mm.
stupidly buy the idea and turn against the protest.
That's why I call them group of noise maker.
Anyway, whatever name you call them, you are absolutely right because they didn't live up to expectation. A lot was expected from them. They couldn't do it. That's why I keep on telling my fellow black people, because whenever I see a black person and he's trying to have argument about Africa in particular, they will tell you that Nigeria is the problem of Africa. That if Nigeria can get it right, all of them. I said, "What? Are you okay? What is wrong with your brain?" I didn't ever hear China saying that if Japan can get it right. I didn't ever hear Japan, Korea saying that if Singapore can get it right. They stood up, they fought for what they. In fact, I have never seen any Korean person saying Asia, Asia. They tell you that country. That's what they know, right?
Because they have one common language.
No, no, no. Even in Korea, anyway, let's not go. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
want to dwell in that much far
Mm-hmm.
to avoid diverting much.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
because they have common language is not the reason of the success they are enjoying today. Because if you go to, I can give you an example of many successful countries that have diverse language. If you go
Yeah.
to Singapore, they have
Of
diverse
course they do.
language. If you go to
Yeah.
the Canada, they have diverse language. Even here in Asia, you know that very in the next if India keep powering as they are doing now, in the next 10 years, India will be the third richest country in the world, if not the second. But they have over 400 languages. Over 400. Now, even if you go to Indonesia, Indonesia is more developed than any state you can mention in Africa.
Yeah. Paul, Paul. No, just forget about India. India just like Nigeria. Because of high population, so and media, they sell their propaganda very well. But India, trust me, even in the next 50, 60 years, India, people may say, oh, we see a brighter future in India, but I do follow India. There are certain things we should separate. We should separate from certain things. It's just like Nigeria. Compared to the people and compared to the resources that those countries have and what they have achieved it's nothing. Okay, let's just go like this. When the whole Africa was governed by South Africa or Egypt or Morocco, and almost people almost all people are residing in Egypt or Morocco or any of those developed countries, they will just sit down and they just decide to say the whole of Africa is developed. And develop in the next 10 years because we see development rapidly. But they will show South Africa, they will show this other part, they will show that other part, they will show that other part. The places that are not developed, they will not talk about it. So for India, India is another failed country. Don't forget about India.
Anyway, I got your point. We will watch and see if they are smart enough to sell their propaganda very well. Everywhere in the world today, everybody is packaging their own stuff very well. You know, yeah. So that is part of it. Maybe that package will bring one or two investors to come and invest in their area, which will create at least two or three jobs, which is something. It has take a lot of some people out of poverty, and those people cannot become gangster
Yeah,
or bad guys in the street anymore. However,
yeah.
I would like to end with this question. I want to
Mm,
ask again in 2 minutes.
mm,
What is your
mm.
wish? What would you like to see happen in Congo?
What is my real okay? The same, this most of almost the same problem with Congo that almost the same problem other African nations are facing. My wish is for me to see since I was born, or since I get experience, I haven't seen Africa produce a leader before. There is no leader. Would Africa have no leader? The ability of leaders. I know the tendency of leaders to have. Comparing to almost every leader in Africa, there is no leader. I haven't found any leader in Africa yet. There is no leader. Maybe Burkina Faso president, maybe he's one of the presidents, not because Burkina Faso is developing at a rapid pace, not because of that. It's because of his ability, because of his experience, because of what he can do to diffuse chaos, to get rid of chaos. Because the ability of a leader is to handle conflict. That's one of the major abilities of a leader. That's my first wish for me to see a leader, a real leader. And my second wish is for me to see blacks loving themselves, Africans loving themselves as a whole. Africans should love themselves. Why? I say Africans don't love themselves is simple. Nigeria is producing cars, right? Nigeria is producing cars.
Yes.
Why should I leave Nigeria car to go another country to buy a car and bring it compared to all of the expenses? Okay, leader. When I say leader again, even though you are producing car, you know the need of the people and you know the people not have much money. How can you build that car to reach to the need of the people too? So, which means as a producer, you are thinking about your people, and as a consumer, you are also thinking about your producer. You understand?
Yeah.
But because we don't have a good leader and we don't have people who love themselves, people are willing to starve their own brother themselves in the food because of the ear or just because of what is going through their mind for that period of time that is not God who have the ability to lead.
Okay. All right. You said no leader in Africa except Burkina Faso. What do
I'm,
you say about?
I'm saying who's trying to be a good
Okay,
leader.
he is trying to. I got the point. But now, what
Yeah.
about Mr. Paul Kagame?
You know, if Paul Kagame want to become king, yeah, he just announced, I want to become king. Or yeah, he just announced this is communist form of government. You understand? But this is not democracy. Yeah, he just announced. But see how many years he been in power. It's one thing. It's one thing. With the length of time he been in power, and I can say Paul Kagame loves himself a little bit. He do love himself. Because any leader who loves themselves will want to see other people succeed. Because as I said, running a country is just like running a business. If I'm the one running Nigeria, right? And if I want to become the richest person on the planet, right? It's not difficult. All I need to do to invest in the Nigerian economy, develop the Nigerian economy for the time I'm in power, get the Nigerian economy boom. And when it boom, boom. Even when you decide to see Australia, when you leave from there, the economy is running, is producing. The people are not going to feel much pain compared to now. You understand?